Hey, I'm back. This is Chandler for Melda Production, and today I thought I'd show you how to make some synthwave using Melda products. So this one I used all Melda products to make the sounds for this, so let's hear it. Basically for this one, I was making a song for a video game. Someone asked me to make one and said, "Oh, do the main theme." I did it, and they're like, "No, this isn't what I want." So now I have a song I can't really use for anything, but hopefully you enjoy it. If you do, let me know down below, and I'll put it online just as its own song. But let's listen to it here. It's only a minute long, so we'll listen to the whole thing. So there you go, it just repeats from there. So hopefully you enjoyed it, but let's get started. Let's look at what I did here. So we'll start off with this low bass here. This starts at the very beginning. This one's actually very easy. All I did was I used this Modern Day Warrior preset here, and I believe I just changed this, the decay here, and probably the release too. I don't want to mess this up, but basically I just went in here and set this to the tempo of the song. So it's fairly easy here. I wanted to have, I believe, have bass mono, so I'm not getting a bunch of side information there. Also, I believe, do I have the, should have the analog on. Yeah, there we go. The depth and speed. So this is like your analog randomness here. I wanted that in there just to make it sound a little bit more vintage. And from there, do I have any effects on there? I don't really use any effects on this. I believe it has some on here, but I just turned them off. This is a really rough mix, so lots of these I didn't actually mix so much. I probably should put some EQ and things on there, but I just did the basic balance. From there, I have it going into this, the reverb. So this reverb is just M Turbo Reverb. You see how I have it on the Randy Hall. So I think this is kind of like a vintage style reverb. Why did I say I think? I actually made this, so I know it is. It's a vintage style reverb. It's not the one you want to use necessarily if you want a realistic sound, but if you're looking for like vintage hardware sound, you want this. It also has a really long attack, so I'll let you hear it. Even though the pre-delay is at 0, listen to how long this attack takes. And even though the modulation's off, just this one in general has just a slight bit of modulation in it anyways. You might want to add more. I didn't do that, but you definitely could do that here. Next one, this lead part here. So this one, I have chords like this, and these are just following the song. I use, I believe, the same chords for the, maybe a piano part, but probably for the other part, the pad part too here. So it's the exact same thing. So I made this fairly quickly, I think, because I had all this Melda stuff at my disposal. I was able to make it in like 3 days or something. And one of the things that actually helped me too is also Scalar. Scalar did all the chords for me. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I did the chords myself, but Scalar did all the voice leading and things for me. I could just say this chord, and this chord, and they would voice lead them smoothly, so I could come up with that. And then once I had that, I could take this MSoundfactory, just use this analogy again. Proud, I actually made this one myself too. And I use this Xylo preset here. I turned everything off except for the compressor. And then I use also here, the ARP to do this. Down by 2 I used here, just a preset. It doesn't really give you a real xylophone sound, but it kind of sounds like an old synth or something, which is what I wanted for this. From there, it gets into the drums. So let's start up here. So we have our drums here, solo it here. I just went into MDrummer, and the new one, the Dream Machines here, you should be able to just go into download and install here if you don't have it. But if you do have it already, just go into Dream Machines and use Classic. And I use 707 full, and that's all that it was. I'm not sure. I might have gone in here. Maybe. No, this is already there. I think it EQ'd it for me. I thought it sounded good, and I just sent it to the Reverb. That's exactly what I wanted. I just need to put a little bit of reverb on it, and that was good to me. The other thing I have is just this bass here. This is also like an old analog style bass. This one, I think you can kind of hear the depth and speed randomness there, the kind of pitch drift. Also has some randomness for the other things too, like the envelope and things, which I think just gives it just a little bit of life there. I'm trying to think, how did I do this? Yeah. So I just wrote it lots of times. So fairly simple bass part there. I think that's hopefully self-explanatory. If you have some questions about this, something I didn't explain properly, let me know. From there, it moves into the next part here, and I add this piano sound. I'll solo it so you can hear it, and let's open it up. So this is the FMEP, and it's 80s ballad. I want to do 80s synthwave stuff, so that's what I have here. I also made this device too. Happy with this. I have some modulation on here, a 4-voice chorus, just to give it some of that sparkle and that 80s sound. And that's also going into the reverb. So there you have that. And I believe that's, oh, last thing here is the pad. So the pad sounds like this. Definitely have the pitch drift on that one as well. I use the same one, this analogy, the classics here inside the pad. And same thing, make sure I have the randomness on. I probably adjusted the decay to suit the speed of the song. So luckily that's fairly easy to use. I think this analogy, hopefully it's easy for you to understand and you can easily adjust this for your own song. So that's what I did, and it saved me lots of time because I didn't have to make presets for this, which I was happy about. So that's what that sounds like. And the last instrument is just this guitar here. So I just put this delay on here just to get that kind of 80s feel and give it some space. Not much to it, just a dotted eighth note there. And to make this kind of just blend in, I'm high passing this up to 209 hertz and low passing it all the way down to like 2000 hertz. So that's really low. Let's go into what I did for this. This is just the smooth metal lead preset. I don't think I did anything else to it. So I just have a gate to get rid of some of the noise, have a drive, green howler going into an amp, this Neptune amp. I have this cabinet here, which is the aluminum cabinet. I have 2 delays on this already. And, oh, did I actually turn the ratio all the way down? I don't know why I did that. I was probably just too lazy to set these. So instead of using these dual delays, I just turned them both off and used a separate delay here. So sometimes I was like, it's just easier for me to set this once as opposed to set 2 different delays inside the preset. So that's what I did. And that's about it, except for the, I guess, last thing here is I have this compressor here. This is doing some work. One of the things it's doing is stopping it from clipping. I apologize for that. But I think it just keeps everything under control and just makes it a little bit fatter and punchier, in my opinion. I just use the preset here, this master bus Neve like fat. I turned the compression down because I only wanted maybe like 2 or 3 decibels here, nothing too crazy. And finally, one thing that you haven't been listening to, but I added as kind of like an extra, is I'm using MXX to add kind of like an old tape effect here. Actually, in this case, it's not too old. All I'm doing is I'm adding a saturator here on soft 1, and this is just giving it a little bit of dirt. Then I'm going into a bandpass. I'm cutting off some of the lows and highs. I'm just using 6 decibels per octave, so it's not too much, but just a little bit. Actually, here, the 10,000 hertz, that's actually a lot. But like I said, some of the old like tapes and probably CDs too, not CDs, records, didn't have as much low end and high end as we do now. And the final thing is this vibrato effect. What this does is it gives you a little bit of pitch drift and wobble, but it does it to the whole signal. So the synthesizers themselves are doing some pitch drift, but this has some predictable pitch drift here. I just set this by ear. I'll turn this up a little bit so you can kind of hear it more. So we'll do it once with this off, then I'll turn it on, and then I'll start adjusting these. Here we go. So I think this just kind of pushes it in your face and adds kind of a little bit of extra layer. You can turn that depth up on the vibrato if you want more of that sound, if you really want to sound like an old wobbly tape, or you can kind of turn it down a bit if you just want a little bit of the mojo, but you don't really want to hear it that much. And the same thing with the saturation here. If you look at the input and output when I do that, there's not so much of a difference, but it seems like there's a difference in volume. It's just saturating that and kind of compressing it a little bit and putting it more in your face. It's just kind of changing it in a pleasant way, in my opinion, but you can't go too far with that where everything is distorting, which could also be a cool effect if you wanted that, but there it is. Now, hopefully I explained everything with that and hopefully gave you some ideas of some things you can do if you want to create some synthwave type stuff. It's really easy using the stuff I showed here, so I would use this as a starting place. I'll probably forget how to do this, and I'll have to use this as a starting place in the future, so maybe this will help me out too. But if you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. Be sure to give this a thumbs up if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't done that, and check out all the other plugins at meldaproduction.com. Till next time, see you.